First contact and looming threat. The massive vessel materialized just beyond Earth's moon, its silvery hull reflecting sunlight and blinding flashes as it slowly approached. On Earth, panic gave way to cautious optimism as the ship made no aggressive moves, instead broadcasting a message in multiple Earth languages. We come in peace and recognition. Earth has reached the threshold for contact. Commander Maya Chen watched from mission control as humanity experienced its first official extraterrestrial encounter. A decorated military strategist with 15 years of service, she had been hastily appointed as Earth's security representative for the first contact team. "Keep breathing, Commander," General Harris murmured beside her. "History's watching." The delegation that emerged from the vessel called themselves representatives of the Galactic Conclave, a coalition of 37 spacefaring species that govern most of the Milky Way. Their leader, a tall crystalline being named Ambassador Thez, extended multiple appendages in greeting. "Your species has finally achieved the minimum technological threshold for recognition," Ambassador Thez announced, its voice melodic through translation devices. "Earth is hereby invited to join the conclave as a Category 3 developing world." The following weeks brought a flurry of diplomatic exchanges, technological gifts, and cultural exchanges. Humanity learned they were far from the most advanced species, but their adaptability and creativity were considered valuable. Earth was granted limited access to interstellar travel, medical advancements, and clean energy technology. Maya Chen, however, grew increasingly suspicious of their new galactic neighbors. During a routine security briefing 6 months after first contact, she noticed references to a containment sector in conclave star maps. "It's nothing that should concern Earth at this stage of development," Ambassador Thez had responded dismissively when she inquired. "Focus on the integration protocols." At a diplomatic reception celebrating the first anniversary of contact, Maya overheard 2 conclave representatives, a gelatinous Muveri and a reptilian Drakari, speaking in hushed tones. Another border system gone silent. The Muveri vibrated anxiously. "That's 3 in the past cycle. The conclave has managed worse incursions," the Drakari responded. "The outer worlds served their purpose." When Maya later attempted to access information about these silent systems, she found her clearance insufficient. Using skills from her military intelligence background, she discreetly bypassed security protocols on a conclave database terminal during a routine inspection. What she discovered chilled her to the core. For millennia, the conclave had been monitoring an entity they called the Void Striders, a collective consciousness that consumed worlds for energy. Rather than fighting this threat, the conclave had established a policy of containment and sacrifice, designating outer worlds as expendable to satiate the Void Striders' hunger. The pattern had worked for thousands of years, until now. The Void Striders were no longer retreating after feeding. They were advancing, and their trajectory pointed directly toward human space. Maya immediately reported her findings to Earth's Leadership Council. When confronted, Ambassador Thez admitted the truth with unsettling calm. "The loss of developing worlds is regrettable but necessary for galactic stability," the ambassador explained. "The Void Striders consume, then retreat. This is the natural order." "And if they come for Earth?" demanded President Alvarez. "Then Earth will have served the greater good," Thez replied. "The needs of the many established civilizations outweigh those of the few developing ones." Maya slammed her fist on the conference table. "You're using less advanced worlds as bait." "We prefer the term ecological balance," Thez corrected. "The conclave offers protection proportional to a species' contribution to galactic civilization. Category 3 worlds like Earth receive limited intervention." 2 days later, the human colony on Proxima Centauri went dark. All communication ceased. The 12,000 colonists, Earth's first extraplanetary settlement, vanished without a trace. The conclave response team will investigate within the standard quarter cycle, Ambassador Thez informed Earth's leaders. Approximately 6 Earth months. "Unacceptable," President Alvarez declared, "Our people are in danger now. The conclave protocols have maintained galactic stability for—" "We don't give a damn about your protocols," General Harris interrupted. "Earth protects its own." Within 24 hours, Maya Chen found herself commanding the hastily retrofitted vessel Defiance, Earth's first military spacecraft, enhanced with reverse-engineered conclave technology. Their mission: investigate Proxima Centauri and assess the threat firsthand, despite explicit instructions from the conclave not to interfere. What they found at Proxima Centauri defied explanation. The colony infrastructure remained intact, but every living thing was gone, and orbiting the planet was a massive, shifting entity that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. A darkness with purpose and hunger that turned toward the Defiance as soon as they arrived. Evasive maneuvers, Maya ordered as tendrils of void reached toward them. The Defiance barely escaped, its engines straining beyond safe parameters. As they limped back to Earth, Maya transmitted all sensor data ahead of them. A somber council greeted her return. The conclave representatives had finally revealed the full truth. The Void Striders had altered their pattern. For the first time in recorded history, they weren't retreating after feeding. They were advancing, and Earth lay directly in their path. The conclave can offer evacuation for 10% of your population, Ambassador Thez stated. Those with exceptional skills or knowledge, deemed valuable to galactic civilization. President Alvarez's response was immediate and unequivocal. Earth stands united. We will not abandon our world or our people. Then you will perish together, Thez replied without emotion. The conclave will establish a quarantine boundary beyond your system. We regret your loss, but cannot risk further contamination. As the conclave delegation departed Earth to establish their containment line, Maya approached President Alvarez. "They're writing us off because they've never had to actually fight," she said. "They've been managing this threat through sacrifice for so long they've forgotten how to resist. But humans don't surrender what's ours." President Alvarez nodded grimly. "Commander Chen, I'm placing you in charge of Earth's defense. We have 6 weeks before these Void Striders reach our system. Make them regret targeting humanity." Maya's expression hardened with determination. They've never faced humans before. That's their disadvantage. As the conclave ships retreated to safe distances, Earth prepared for battle. The transformation was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Humanity unleashed. Ambassador Thez observed Earth from the safety of the conclave quarantine vessel. The crystalline being had lived for over 3 centuries and had overseen the containment of 6 previous Void Strider incursions. Each had followed the established pattern, until now. "They still refuse evacuation offers," reported his aide, a Muveri diplomat. "Instead, they're preparing to fight." "Unfortunate but expected," Thez replied. "Category 3 species often struggle with acceptance. They lack perspective." "But Ambassador," the aide continued hesitantly, "their preparations are unusual. Global industrial output has increased 400% in 3 weeks. They've converted 60% of civilian infrastructure to defense production." Thez dismissed this with a gesture. "Primitive desperation. The Void Striders cannot be defeated through conventional means." "They're not using conventional means," the aide insisted, displaying holographic images of Earth's rapidly transforming defense network. "They're implementing technologies the conclave deemed theoretical or too unstable for practical application." For the first time, Thez felt a flutter of uncertainty. On Earth, humanity had united with singular purpose. Ancient rivalries were set aside as countries pooled resources and knowledge. The technologies shared by the conclave, intended for gradual implementation over decades, were being adapted, combined, and deployed in ways their creators never imagined. Commander Maya Chen stood in the Global Defense Headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by holographic displays tracking worldwide progress. What had been accomplished in 6 weeks would have taken the conclave a decade. Update from Lunar Base Alpha. reported her second-in-command, Colonel Takumi Ishida. The gravity disruptors are online 3 days ahead of schedule. Mars defense grid is at 85% capacity. And Project Sunforge? Maya asked. Ready for deployment. Though the conclave scientists we consulted maintain it's theoretically impossible. Maya allowed herself a grim smile. Humanity specializes in the impossible, Colonel. The Void Striders entered the solar system exactly as predicted, their vast darkness eclipsing the light of distant stars as they approached. The conclave observation vessels detected them first. They've breached the outer boundary. Ambassador Thez informed the human leadership. We will maintain observation from a safe distance. Your species' contribution to galactic knowledge will be remembered. You might want to keep watching, President Alvarez replied. You're about to learn something new. As the Void Striders approached Neptune, they encountered the first layer of humanity's defense. Not barriers or weapons, but thousands of automated probes broadcasting overlapping patterns of energy across a spectrum the Conclave had never thought to utilize. The massive entities paused, their fluid movements becoming erratic as they encountered something unfamiliar. The probes weren't attacking. They were communicating, transmitting mathematical patterns, music, poetry, and chaotic noise in alternating sequences. They feed on predictable energy patterns, Maya explained to her command staff. So we're giving them indigestion. The Void Striders recovered quickly, adapting to the disruption and continuing their advance. But they had been delayed, and more importantly, forced to expend energy processing the unfamiliar input. All ships, execute battle plan chaos, Maya ordered as the entities approached the Jupiter defense line. The Earth fleet, hundreds of vessels hastily constructed and crewed by volunteers, moved in patterns no military strategist would consider sensible. Some charged directly at the Void Striders, others performed erratic spirals and loops, while others appeared to flee before suddenly reversing course. From the Conclave observation vessel, Ambassador Thez watched in astonishment. Their tactics make no sense, he said. There's no coordinated strategy. That appears to be deliberate, his tactical analyst responded. They're being unpredictable by design. For entities that had evolved to consume ordered energy and predictable responses, the human defense was baffling. The Void Striders split into smaller components, attempting to counter multiple threat vectors simultaneously, exactly as Maya had hoped. They're dividing their consciousness, she announced. Phase 2, commence. The Mars defense grid activated, not with destructive energy as the Conclave might have deployed, but with massive gravitational pulses precisely calibrated to trap the fragmented Void Striders in localized fields. We can't destroy them, Maya had explained in planning sessions, but we can disrupt their cohesion and control where they go. As the fragmented entities struggled against the unfamiliar constraints, Earth unveiled its final defense. From a station orbiting Mercury, a massive array of mirrors and energy collectors, Project Sunforge fired concentrated solar energy into the heart of each trapped Void Strider fragment. Not to destroy, but to overload. Like forcing a glutton to consume an entire feast in a single bite, each fragment was suddenly flooded with more energy than it could process. Their darkness fluctuated, edges becoming unstable. All ships, clear the engagement zone, Maya ordered. Sunforge increased to maximum output. The Void Striders, for the first time in their existence, experienced something new: the pain of overconsumption. Their fragmented consciousness, unable to unite or process the overwhelming energy, began to collapse. Ambassador Thez watched in disbelief as the entities that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia retreated, not in their usual orderly withdrawal, but in disarray, fragments scattering in all directions. Pursue them, Maya commanded. Don't let them regroup. The Earth fleet harried the retreating fragments, maintaining their unpredictable patterns and forcing the Void Striders further from the solar system. For 3 days, the pursuit continued until the last traces of darkness had vanished from their sensors. In the aftermath, The Conclave Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Thez stood before the assembled representatives, his crystalline form dimmed with humility. "We have witnessed something unprecedented," he began. "The humans did not merely survive the Void Strider incursion, they repelled it completely." "Through what means?" demanded the elder counselor, a being so ancient its original form was barely recognizable. "Innovation, unpredictability, cooperation. They adapted technologies we deemed theoretical and implemented strategies we considered irrational. Yet they succeeded where our containment protocols were failing." Commander Maya Chen, invited to address the council as Earth's representative, stepped forward. "For thousands of years, you've managed this threat through sacrifice and containment," she said. "You forgot how to fight because you never had to. Humans don't have that luxury. Our entire history is overcoming threats through adaptation and determination. Your methods were unorthodox," admitted the elder counselor. "Because we weren't bound by conventions that stopped working," Maya replied. "The Void Striders evolved, but your response didn't. Earth is now formally requesting reclassification from Category 3 to full member status, with all the protections and responsibilities that entails." The council chamber erupted in debate. Such an advancement would normally take centuries, yet no one could deny what humanity had accomplished. In the end, Earth received its new status, and with it, a new role in the Conclave, to lead a unified defense force against the Void Striders and any future threats. The ancient policy of sacrifice was officially abandoned. As Maya prepared to return to Earth, Ambassador Thez approached her. "I must ask," the crystalline being said, "how did you know your tactics would work?" Maya smiled. "We didn't, but that's humanity's greatest strength. We try the impossible anyway." As news spread throughout the galaxy, species that had lived under the shadow of potential sacrifice found new hope. The message was clear. The era of resignation was over. The Conclave had pushed humanity to its limits, and in doing so, discovered exactly what humans were capable of when threatened. It was a lesson the galaxy would not soon forget.